Hi everyone. Okay, in my last video I talked about Swashbuckler, which is due to get a release from Imprint on Blu-ray next week, the 26th of February. But today, let's talk about some more pirate movies that are essential for you to know about. Firstly, some honourable mentions. Now, if you want a comedic pirate, then maybe The Princess and the Pirate is for you, from 1944, starring Bob Hope. And this one co-stars Virginia Mayo, and it's got Victor McLaglen as the Hook, a pirate who has a hook for a hand, but he's not Captain Hook from Peter Pan. This co-stars as well Walter Slezak and Walter Brennan. Good fun. And if you want a musical pirate, then maybe go to 1948's The Pirate, directed by Vincente Minnelli and starring Gene Kelly and Judy Garland and Walter Slezak. And this one has Gene Kelly as a magician actor who attempts to be a pirate so as to try and come to the rescue of Judy Garland, who is due to be going into an arranged marriage with a local mayor, played by Walter Slezak. Music by Cole Porter. Or if musicals are not your thing, then you can get to see Walter Slezak again as a Spanish nobleman trying to win the affections of Maureen O'Hara in The Spanish Main. And this one has Dutch pirate played by Paul Henreid coming to the rescue, hoping to win her heart also. This is directed by Frank Borzage, made in 1945. Or if you want a more modern swashbuckler, then head to 1983's Nate and Hayes, also known as Savage Island, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Jenny Seagrove and Michael O'Keefe. Now, I did do a separate video on this movie on my channel about a year ago, so please do go and check that one out. And although it was an absolutely disastrous flop, mention must be given to the 1986 film Pirates, directed by Roman Polanski and starring Walter Matthau as a very crusty pirate with an unusual Cockney accent. Now, this film deserves mention because it spent about a third of its $30 million budget on the build and design of a really fantastic galleon ship, which was called the Neptune in the film. Now, back in 1986, they did actually bring this ship to Cannes for the Cannes Film Festival, and it remained there for quite some time afterwards. And I actually went on a family holiday back in 1987 with my folks and got to see it in Cannes Harbour. So I'll just show you a few photos that I have. I wasn't a great photographer back then, but yeah, taken on my Kodak camera. Fantastic figurehead there of the Neptune. Here's what it looked like. Massive size to it. Great detail. Really impressive to look at. And there, just to give some sense of scale with other boats around it. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Definitely the best feature in Roman Polanski's movie. And talking of box office flops, let's talk for a moment about this one from 1995, Cutthroat Island, starring Geena Davis, Matthew Modine and Frank Langella, and directed by Rennie Harlin. So this one had a $115 million budget, and it only made $10 million of that back, unfortunately, but it definitely deserves a lot more appreciation than it received. Admittedly, it doesn't have the best of scripts, and it is quite a meandering tale, but it has all the necessary ingredients for a satisfying swashbuckler. You have got a feisty pirate, you've got great ships in this, stunning locations filmed in Malta and Thailand, and plenty of action and adventure in this, and a hissable villain played by Frank Langella. The Thailand and Malta locations definitely help make this a beautiful film to look at. Great cinematography by John Debney. And absolutely, this film has probably more explosions than any other pirate movie that you'll see. There's some really good action set pieces in this, great stunt work. And yeah, just makes it a very entertaining family entertainment. Geena Davis is perfectly fine in the lead. Probably audiences might not have wanted her there. Matthew Modine, a little bit weak as her support. But yeah, this is pretty good fun. But if you want to see truly acrobatic pirates, then head no further than 1952's The Crimson Pirate, starring Burt Lancaster, directed by Robert Siodmak. Burt Lancaster just starting the film with a big wide grin to the audience, and then starting his swinging from the rigging. So yeah, plenty of acrobatic action in this. Burt Lancaster used to be a circus performer, and his boyhood chum Nick Cravat is in this also. The two of them had starred together in The Flame and the Arrow. This also co-stars Eva Bartok, who had been in Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. But yeah, hugely entertaining one this. Little in the way of swordplay, but definitely in terms of acrobatic stunt work, this is incredible to watch, especially at the finale, which has Burt Lancaster and Nick Cravat just swinging all over the place on their ship. Yeah, really incredible to see. Huge fun. Written by Roland Kibbe, who actually went on to write a lot of other scripts involving Burt Lancaster, including Vera Cruz and Valdez's Coming. Oh, and also there's an early role in this one for Christopher Lee. He doesn't have much dialogue, but yeah, you do get to see him in a few scenes. But when it comes to a truly great pirate movie, you want one that encapsulates everything. You want great storytelling. You want a really strong pirate. You want romance. You want action. You want adventure. You want a fantastic ship. You want sword fights. You want great direction. And you want really stirring music. So the only films that you can possibly consider in that respect are the partnership of Michael Curtiz with Errol Flynn, and the first one being Captain Blood from 1935. Extraordinary to think that this is the film that actually launched Errol Flynn's career. He had made a couple of films before this in England, but he was brought over by Warner Brothers. He was nowhere near the first choice for the role here of Captain Blood, but he eventually got the role. Olivia de Havilland as well had only been looking to make a movie adaptation of her stage show of A Midsummer Night's Dream, but Warner Brothers compelled her to sign a 7-year contract. And so here begins the first of 8 partnerships that Errol Flynn had with Olivia de Havilland. Their on-screen chemistry is fantastic in this. Errol Flynn just commands the screen. You would not think that this was his major first leading role. And this is so enjoyable to watch. The sword fights in this are really thrilling. Absolutely fantastic ship battles as well. They used ship models for some of the action in this, but those ship models were 18 feet long. But yeah, it all looks absolutely terrific. The score from Eric Wolfgang Korngold is just really stirring stuff. And he went on to work with Curtiz and Flynn again in their later films. Probably the finest example being The Adventures of Robin Hood, which everyone absolutely loves. Cinematography on this by Ernest Haller, who had also been a cinematographer on classics such as Gone with the Wind. And just for a moment, just to link that back into Swashbuckler, which was directed by James Goldstone. Now, James Goldstone actually persuaded Ernest Haller to come out of almost retirement to actually film an episode of Star Trek back in the late 60s. So yeah, just a link there. But yeah, Captain Blood, absolutely stirring stuff. Definitely worth watching. Now, some would say that Michael Curtiz partnering up with Errol Flynn again for The Seahawk in 1940 is an even better film. Certainly had a much bigger budget, 1.27 million, I think, for 1940, which was a huge amount at that time. And definitely they were able to build some really impressive ships in this. Great sea battle in this one. And again, an absolutely fantastic sword fight at the end. So really thrilling stuff. Not quite the same romance in this one. We've got Brenda Marshall co-starring in this, and the villainous role is played by Claude Rains, a good role for him. And we have Flora Robson playing Queen Elizabeth in this as well. But yeah, stirring stuff, but I must admit Captain Blood probably gets my vote for being the pick of the two, although many people do seem to like this one even more. But before I finish, there's one more movie I want to talk about, and it's a movie that's little seen, and it absolutely is ripe for being restored and reissued, and it deserves a lot more praise and attention than it's received so far. And it is a film from 1949, and it is The Pirates of Capri. Now, this is directed by Edgar G. Ulmer. For many people, they might be familiar with Edgar G. Ulmer because his film Detour is in the Criterion Collection, and he was a director that was notorious for being able to make movies on low budgets in a short amount of time. So, yes, he made those movies in America, but after the war, he returned to Europe, and this was the first film that he made on return to Europe in 1949. Filmed it on the Amalfi Coast in Italy, as well as Chinchilla Waitita Studios. And he had a 3-month time period to be able to make this. And it really is quite a glorious and spectacular one. Great costumes, great locations, and he has a terrific cast. Louis Hayward was his friend, and he casts him in the main role, a very Zorro-like pirate role here. So he's a confidant to the Queen, played by Binny Barnes, and he's also this pirate figure as well that's trying to help the people obtain their independence and overthrow the Queen without actually getting her hanged. There's a really villainous role in this that's played by Massimo Serrato, an Italian actor who's been in about 170 movies. I wasn't really familiar with him, but I was absolutely glued to watching him on the screen. He's absolutely terrific. And there's an excellent sword fight at the end of this as well. Again, ship battles as well at the beginning, so you get all of the exciting stuff that you want from a pirate movie. This really is glorious. It absolutely deserves a lot more attention than it has received. Yeah, definitely worth watching. It has a music score as well by Nino Rota, who went on to write the score for The Godfather. Now, the star of this film, Louis Hayward, does actually have an association with Captain Blood, because Louis Hayward actually went on to star as the character of Captain Peter Blood in a film called Captain Pirate in 1952. Now, regular viewers of my channel may know that I like to sometimes try and promote the films of director John Guillermin, a director who had a number of movies that went under the radar and were underappreciated. So how can I possibly talk about John Guillermin here, you may ask? Well, Binny Barnes, who plays the Queen in The Pirates of Capri, and she was also in The Spanish Main, which I showed at the beginning of the video. She was an actress who did actually venture one time into producing a movie. And what was that movie? It was John Guillermin's Thunderstorm, which I talked about just the other day. So yeah, there we go. Okay, there we go. That's my brief rundown of essential pirate movies for you to know. I haven't talked about the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, mainly because I expect most of you will know about that franchise. They're the most successful ones that have been out over the last 20 years. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your comments and thoughts on any of these movies. Please do join me again for more videos. Thanks for watching this one. All the best to you. Bye-bye.